In the 8th century, during the Nara period of ancient Japan, a figure named Ryomen Sukuna emerged. A rebel who stood against the Yamato imperial court to protect his people from the oppressive forces. He ruled the Hida province known today as Gifu Prefecture. Sukuna had 2 faces, 4 arms, and wielded 4 different weapons. In one arm, he held his bow. On second arm, he holds a sword. On third arm, he has a spear. And in fourth arm, he wielded a shield. A legendary fighter, he was said to possess mysterious, supernatural, almost demonic powers. While feared in the past, today he's remembered as the King of Curses, thanks to his portrayal in the popular anime Jujutsu Kaisen. But Sukuna's story doesn't stop here. What if the roots of Ryomen Sukuna reached beyond Japan and into the myths of the world's most prominent religions? Today, we would dive into the fascinating connections and references between Sukuna and 3 of the most popular and believed religions on Earth: Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam. Let's first dive into Hinduism references to Sukuna, where things become extremely fascinating. Just believe me. In Hindu mythology, there's a powerful demon king named Ravana. Extremely sorry if I am pronouncing it wrong. And you should know that the story of Ravana has captivated generations in India. Ravana wasn't just any normal demon. He was a scholar, a warrior, and a ruler of unmatched ambition. With 10 heads and 20 arms, Ravana symbolized an individual with boundless intelligence and power, capable of mastering all forms of knowledge and warfare. But those very qualities fueled his arrogance and pride, convincing him that he could challenge even the gods. Does that sound familiar? Yes, of course it does. Sukuna, the King of Curses in Jujutsu Kaisen, exhibits the same overwhelming pride and belief in his own supremacy. Like the demon Ravana, Sukuna's power commands both fear and respect. Ravana's downfall came when he underestimated Lord Rama, an incarnation of divine power. Similarly, Sukuna's path seems destined for conflict with forces that strive for balance, which we call Jujutsu sorcerers. Now let's take a moment to explore an intriguing connection between Ryomen Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen and a powerful figure from Islamic tradition, which we call Iblis. In Islamic teachings, Iblis was once a revered being, created from smokeless fire and elevated to a high status among the angels. Despite his lofty position, his arrogance led to his downfall when he refused to obey Allah's command to bow before Adam, the first human on earth. This act of defiance stemmed from his belief that he was inherently superior. Similarly, Sukuna's immense power and pride make him see himself as above all others. Both characters share a defining trait, an inflated sense of superiority that isolates them from the divine and moral order. The fall from grace. Iblis' downfall lies in his refusal to acknowledge any authority above his own, a sentiment mirrored by Sukuna. In the Quran, Iblis explicitly states, "I'm better than him. You created me from fire and created him from clay." Quran 7:12. This statement highlights his disdain for humanity, rooted in his belief in his own unmatched greatness. Sukuna, in much the same way, considers humans weak and insignificant, as we also seen in anime. This same arrogance and self-pride constructed the path of their eventual downfall. Both Iblis and Sukuna start as incredibly powerful figures, but let their arrogance turn them into forces of destruction. Iblis, once respected and elevated, becomes a symbol of temptation and corruption, trying to mislead humanity. Similarly, Sukuna, as the King of Curses, spreads fear and chaos, destroying everything in his path. Both characters show what happens when pride goes unchecked. In Islamic tradition, Iblis doesn't just disappear after his rebellion. Instead, he becomes a tempter, working to undermine the divine order and lead people astray. Sukuna is very similar. His cursed energy comes from humanity's negative emotions and spreads harm and despair everywhere. Just as Iblis tries to manipulate people, Sukuna's curses haunt and torment the living, making their world more chaotic and painful. Despite their immense power, neither Iblis nor Sukuna is unstoppable. In their stories, forces of good rise to oppose them, prophets in Iblis's case and sorcerers in Sukuna's. The fight isn't just about strength, it's also about values, with humility and balance standing against pride and destruction. Lastly, let's take a closer look at Christianity, where we can find a strong comparison to Rayam and Sukuna in the figure of Lucifer. According to Christian teachings, Lucifer was once an angel of the highest rank, known for his incredible beauty, wisdom, and strength. He was one of God's most cherished creations. But despite his privileged position, Lucifer's pride began to grow. He wanted to rise above everyone, even God himself. This arrogance and desire for power led him to rebel, which resulted in his fall from heaven. Now, doesn't that sound a lot like Sukuna? Sukuna, much like Lucifer, sees himself as superior to all others. With his unmatched strength and confidence, he doesn't care about anyone else's authority or rules. Both Sukuna and Lucifer are similar in their overwhelming pride and refusal to accept anyone as their equal or superior. This defiance is what leads to their eventual downfall. Lucifer's story doesn't end with his fall. After being cast out of heaven, he became the ruler of hell and the ultimate symbol of evil and rebellion. His pride turned him into the very opposite of what he once was, a force of darkness instead of a being of light. Sukuna's journey feels very similar. Once feared and revered, Sukuna became the king of curses, spreading destruction and chaos wherever he went. His godlike arrogance makes him see the world as his playground, and people as tools or obstacles. Both Sukuna and Lucifer chose their paths out of pride, and while their power makes them terrifying, their inability to control their arrogance seals their fate. Lucifer's role in Christianity goes beyond his personal story. He becomes a force of temptation and corruption, working against God by trying to lead humanity astray. He thrives on chaos and destruction, disrupting the natural order of things. In Jujutsu Kaisen, Sukuna represents a very similar concept. His curses are born from humanity's darkest emotions: hate, fear, and anger. These curses spread suffering and destroy lives, creating a world filled with despair. Tell me, when we look at the world today, it's hard not to see the parallels with these ancient stories. The pride, the arrogance, the endless hunger for power. It all feels so familiar, doesn't it? The leaders we see now might not call themselves demons or kings of curses, but let's be honest, their actions often tell a different story. So, in the end, are they really all that different? Guys, believe me, I was going to make this video friendly, funny, and full of jokes, but this topic was very sensitive. I bet my next video will, or may, make you laugh more than you ever had in your life. Until then, subscribe and go watch my other videos on this channel.